thought I'd do a little one here beforehand, and I wanted to talk about centering devices that you can use quickly and are readily available. I started with this, and I think I've seen these on the internet or something. I mean, I didn't come up with this myself. The neat thing about this one is pretty easy to make, cheap, very simple. You take one side and get close. Now, I should have got closer here because you do a lot of 3/4 centering, and this is too far apart. Then the next one's farther apart, and then a little farther apart, and then you roll around, and you can do, say, a wider board, in that manner. You put a pencil down in, so you drill a hole in the center all the way around. Problem is, you've got to kind of hold that pencil so it's pushing down while you're trying to create some kind of friction from side to side, because if you let it loose, then it's going to move around. So you've got to hold that tight and hold down, and usually you're holding the board and you're trying to mark it. These are too long on these shorter sides are okay, but if you're marking a board like this, it would be better if you could set it down and then find the right spot. And see, they're too long, they hit, so I should have shortened those. But anyway, I ended up not hardly ever using this one because of that. So then I went to kind of something I made myself. This is just a piece of oak, 3/4 oak. And what I did is I made these holes, and they're actually, the main thing is each, like this one's got to be exactly the same distance from the center as this one is. And of course the easy way to do that is put it on a drill press. If you put a stop block, it doesn't matter where you drill this, just get it close to what you think you'll use a lot, and then turn it around and do the other side, and it's going to be exactly the same distance from center. So that's pretty easy, and you just do the amount you want. And what I did was I took just some 1/4-20 bolts. These are just threaded inserts that I've screwed into the wood, and I took the bolts and cut off the top, the hex head, and so they just screw in and out nice and easy. And the other thing I've done, because these are too far apart for a 3/4 piece of wood, if you want to do the center, you've got to twist this thing way too far. And so I want it more to where I don't have to keep that twist in there, not to mention the fact you can't get as close to the end. So I kind of blew that a little bit. What I did was I created another type, just an Allen screw with a bushing that is in there, which gives me a little closer distance. I can put that in there, and now it's a little closer distance. Now this part is nothing more than, I think it's 1/2-inch thread or whatever, pipe nipple. So I don't know, it's about 3 inches long. It can be as long as you want, and then you cut a pencil to the distance you want. And if I unscrew the top here, what you'll see, whoops, I had a little piece of dowel in there because the pencil I keep sharpening gets shorter. A spring, and a pencil. It's a golf pencil. So I put that in there. And what I did at the other end is, see, I had a hole in the top of this because originally, see, I made the hole a little too big, and right here I put a little hole. This is a blank screw-on, just like this one, cap, pipe cap, and I got this at Home Depot, and I made a hole right in the center, big enough for the pencil. This other one was too big, so I used it at the other end. And what I did is I drilled the hole big enough for this pipe, and then at this end, when I got it on, I hammered it right into the wood, and it stays just fine. So anyway, that is that one. Then after a while, I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe I could make one where I got a little bit more adjustability. So I came up with one where I took a Rockler piece of aluminum bar that they use like for track to use in your miter track, and I made 4 holes after I was all done to mount this to the wood. But what I did is I drilled these holes in here, and you can see the same thing if you put it on a drill press. Now when I started this, what I realized was I was using the right size for tapping these 1/4-20 holes bit, and sometimes it would wander even in a drill press a little bit. So what I ended up doing as I got going, I saw that where they weren't exactly center front and back, but they were still the same distance from the center, so they're okay. So I would drill a pilot hole, like a 1/8 hole down, and then you change the bit and it's still center, and then I would drill down. So I would flip it around, do the 2 1/8 holes, then I would put the tapping drill bit in, and so the rest of them are lined up pretty good, but you can see how these kind of got off a little bit because the bit just wandered as I put pressure down. So anyway, but this works really well. And I kind of use the same pencil idea. Of course, the back of this one doesn't have the hole in it because I already knew how big to make the hole. And again, just a spring in there and a pencil. That's all that's in there. But the good thing about that is, what I love about that is, see the pencil? It's got just enough pressure that it will force itself onto the wood, and I don't have to deal with this at all. So all I have to do, like let's take this piece of wood, all I have to do is get it started, and I don't know if you can see that, but I tried to use a light colored piece of wood, but boom, it's done. And if I want to do the end of, say, a piece of 3/4, I'll move these, and these are short also, so I could use these longer ones. I put a couple spots up here just to keep them handy. These longer ones are probably handier for going down the edge because I've got more space on the edge. I'm sorry about that. I forget that, you know, I'm so close to the camera that I can lose you. But anyway, I can put that like that, and I can take this and run it. Anyway, that one's harder to see, and I really should be holding it like this. But anyway, it works better with these longer ones. And then I run it down. It actually made a center line, but it's very difficult for you to see. Well, maybe we can see on this one, and this would take the next one, and let's go ahead and do these longer ones. And again, these are just 1/4-20 bolts that I cut off. And now this one, I'm going to go ahead and go to the second one, and the same thing with this one. Go to the second one, and you should be able to see this. I got a lighter piece of wood, but see, it's got much more space down, and well, it isn't that easy for you to see, I don't think, but anyway, for me. And you can go back and forth like this. Let's see if that darkens it up. Anyway, I kind of moved it a little bit, but it definitely works. And sometimes I'll actually put this in a vise and I'll run it down. Then it's real easy. But the nice part is this pencil is spring loaded, so it does put a mark on it, and you can see the mark here. So anyway, I use this pretty much all the time, and I use the other one once in a while too. But for a fast go-to centering device, that works pretty good. And like I said, if you remember, if you're making any of these, and there's many different ways you can make them, You can take scrap wood and just make it with 2 pins sticking out, and you can use dowels and just make 4 or 5 different ones for different sizes of wood, and make one of these where you just shove it in and it works and screws in. So this one here, I drilled the hole on this one because I didn't take it all the way through that pipe nipple. So the hole for the pipe nipple is barely big enough, and what I did was I literally screwed the pipe nipple in, and it works fine. This is only, actually the end of the threads are right there. So the pencil is actually all by itself inside the wood here, but it's still works just great. So, thank you. Oh.